Hello and welcome to LAEDA'S presentation of the Individual Development Account Orientation Session. LAEDA has been serving the Camden community for 33 years, since 1987, as one of the premier economic development associations committed to empowering our community and revitalizing our local economy. As explained in the Individual Development Account information session occurring in early March and middle of February, the individual development accounts, or IDA accounts, are an opportunity provided by LAEDA because we are currently a partner with United Way. United Way of Greater Philadelphia and South Jersey have been offering these individual development accounts as an opportunity for the community that they serve to not only save money towards a specific goal, such as education, the purchase of a house, or investing in their business, but it's also a capital match program where you, as the saver, have the opportunity to receive a match from United Way to reward you for your sacrifice and your hard work in putting aside those savings. So today's presentation is going to start off with a review of IDA's purpose and the specific aspects of what this opportunity provides business owners. We'll then just go over, in general, the IDA program process, its phases, and the summary of what happens in each of those phases. Then we'll go into a more detailed explanation and presentation of those stages, of those phases. We'll also make sure to delve into the role and responsibilities of IDA participants, and also define the role and responsibilities of LAEDA. We'll then talk about the next steps that you need to take as a potential participant, and then we'll go over questions and answers that have come up during this process. So, as mentioned already, IDA's opportunity is a savings match program. It's an opportunity to utilize not only savings that you put aside as the business owner, but then capital that is provided to you by United Way, and invest that capital into your business. When we say savings match, we want to make very clear that this is not a loan that needs to be paid back. Nor is this a typical grant where the grant recipient does not have to put any of their own money into a particular program. Instead, this is you as a business owner putting aside some of your earnings every month, and then those earnings that are now put aside as savings getting matched by United Way at a ratio of 2 to 1. So what does this ratio of 2 to 1 mean? Well, bullet point number 3 talks about how you can save a maximum of $1,500 as an individual that you can then invest in your small business. If you manage to save $1,500, United Way will match that at $3,000. So United Way will provide you with twice as much as you were able to save. Another example is if you are able to save in the time period say $100. United Way will match that savings with $200 for a total amount of money of $100 plus $200, $300 that you will be able to use towards the investment in your business. Now, this program is not just about matching savings, though that is the principal aspect of it, but it's also about having you get access to one-on-one business counseling and also to training in correct and best practices regarding small business growth and financial management in relation to your small business. These are LAEDA'S specialties. This is why United Way wanted us to partner with them. So let's move on and talk about IDA's specific process. So everyone who is here now has confirmed over the phone at least that they feel, to the best of their knowledge, that yes, they meet the eligibility requirements in order to participate in this program. That specifically, those requirements are earned income, household size, and what the level of that earned income is. We are now going to have to accept documentation from you to confirm that you are eligible, in fact, to participate in the program. Once eligibility is confirmed, you then move on to the enrollment process. We have you fill out program participation forms, and then we conduct an interview to make sure that you understand all of the procedures and roles and responsibilities. And as long as you agree to those, you are then all set to move on to the next phase, which is opening your IDA bank account. Now, the TD Bank in Camden is currently the only TD Bank where you are able to open an account. You also have to do that in person. They are taking appointments during this COVID-19 crisis. But if you happen to live in Philadelphia, there are other banks in Philadelphia that do participate. Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, Citizens Bank, and others. The next phase is making sure that you are set up successfully to receive financial management and small business training. We provide, like I said, training all year round that you can participate in. And if you've already graduated from LAEDA'S Entrepreneurial Development Training Program or the Women's Business Academy, you may be able to opt out of this requirement. The next phase is signing up for counseling, where you get a chance to establish a savings and asset purchase plan. You then are required to register for the IDA accountability group. And this will be formed really depending upon the participants' communication preferences. Essentially, this is just a support group among IDA participants where you get to, as members of the community together and also as fellow entrepreneurs, really help each other out in reaching each other's goals. The next part is account maintenance. And all this really means is that you are successfully making a deposit of at least $10 per month, at least once a month, consistently, every month. Successful maintenance also means that you're staying in communication with your counselor. Of course, yes, through meetings, but also just in general, how's everything going, so on and so forth. And because we know that life happens and we want to be there for you in case that is the case and we can be there to support you and figure out how you can best continue with the program or perhaps take a break. We really do, and also United Way also really does understand that life does happen and sometimes emergencies do occur. And finally, all of this leads to the final stage of successful purchase of your asset and account closure. So let's delve into what we mean by confirming your eligibility. So like I said, we've established that all of who are in attendance right now or who are watching this video do meet the basic requirements to participate in the IDA program. We now need to verify and document this eligibility. We need 4 categories of documentation. One is proof of residency. You can do this by emailing us a copy of a driver's license or a state-issued ID. We also need proof of small business ownership and existence. You can send us your latest tax filing, or you can send us your incorporation papers. The third category is proving that your net worth is, in fact, less than $10,000. And the final category is that you have proof of earned income. And not only do you have proof that you are earning an income, but that you are within the allowed income level to be a participant in this program. So let's dive a little bit deeper into what we mean by household net worth. According to United Way, the definition of household members are all individuals who share use of a dwelling unit as primary quarters for living and eating separate from other individuals. This is important because United Way sees that household can mean not just your typical definition of a nuclear family. We realize that people sometimes live with neighbors, take care of them. They are currently housing their kids who are maybe back home from college. So it is a flexible definition of household to reflect the flexible aspects of life and life circumstances. So as for this net worth, it does not include the value of one's home or the value of one fully owned vehicle. However, the reason we brought this up, that what is the definition of household, is because your net worth needs to account for the income of each household member. So if you have a recent college graduate who is currently still at home and they're having a hard time finding their first career job, but they are still working at a temporary job, you need to include that income when you are establishing your net worth. So what's the documentation that we need? We need bank statements for each household member that is actually contributing to the household net worth, showing total in checking and savings accounts. We also need to see the most updated value of any assets that you currently possess beyond your fully owned first vehicle and one home. So we don't need to see the paperwork for your one home and your one fully owned vehicle, but any other vehicles beyond the first one, we do need to see that. And if you have any other properties that you either own and you're renting out, or that you own and other family members live in, we also need to see that information about their most up-to-date value. We also need to see your most recent tax returns and the documentation of all existing outstanding debts. So the net worth equation that we use is all of your assets minus all of your debts. Now, when we say debts, we mean loans, student loans, lines of credit. These are all going to contribute to the debt that you currently have. And all of these would be available in the documentation that is repeated below in this slide. So the final aspect of eligibility is income qualification, earned income, and also income level, as I previously said. First, you need to be earning income in order to participate in this program. Documentation that we accept is W-2s, your last 3 or 4 pay stubs, or bank statements. We also need to establish that you are not earning above a certain income to disqualify you from participation in this program. You can show us that what the income level is that we accept is that your household is earning an adjusted gross income of below 350% of the national poverty level. That you are currently receiving temporary assistance for needy families, or that the household qualifies for an earned income tax credit. So if you can show any of these, then you need to send that to us, and that will qualify you within the income level. Just a quick note here, though, that your sole source of earnings cannot be a TANF program. You need to, if you are participating in TANF, you also need to show that you still are earning an income in some other way. So now let's move on to enrollment. Enrollment's requirements in terms of documentation are that we need to see the tax returns for the prior year. Again, this is for each member of the household who is earning an income. We can also accept the 2 most recent pay stubs for each working member of the household, just really emphasizing that. Documentation of the TANF program that you are, as a family or a household member, is a participant and a recipient of, and the photo ID. And again, photo ID of each household member who is earning an income. With regards to enrollment, we ask that you, at the end of this video, that you reach out to schedule your pre-enrollment interview by emailing us at info@laeda.com. During the time it takes for us to get back to you, we are going to ask that you gather and submit all of that eligibility documentation that we just reviewed on the previous 2 slides. And then after this, upon verifying eligibility by looking over all of that documentation, we will then reach back out to you to schedule an interview. In that interview email, we will provide for you a link that you go to fill out your enrollment documentation. All of the enrollment documentation must be read, filled out, signed, and submitted back to LAEDA before your interview. Because this is electronic, we do accept that if you simply write your name or type your name on the participant signature line of some of these forms, that we will be accepting them as your signature. And then finally, you just attend the interview and you agree to all the program requirements. LAEDA'S role and responsibility in this enrollment stage is that we do hold that interview via Zoom. We review the documentation that you have sent for eligibility and then approve you to move on to the stage of enrollment. At the enrollment interview, we then sit with you and not only go through the forms, but go through the most important part, which is establishing what your capital match goal is based upon what the asset is that you want to purchase. Is that reasonable based upon your budget? And then based upon those two, we create a reachable savings plan with you. At the end of the enrollment interview, as long as everything goes well, we then enroll you as officially a participant in not only the program, but also in the training programming so that we make sure that you will meet all requirements moving forward. And we approve the enrollment forms and we email you an IDA account opening letter that you are then able to take to the bank. So, opening the IDA account. Requirements are that you attend orientation. Done, congratulations. Submit eligibility documentation for verification. You then complete your enrollment interview with one of LAEDA'S program staff. At the end of that interview, after filling out all of the forms and approving everything, signing everything, you then receive our approval. And then that's when we email you an IDA account opening letter with LAEDA and United Way's approval. Once you receive that letter via email, you then have to print it out or even just bring it to the bank. Maybe you can even use your phone and show it to the bank that you have approval to open this account. Certain aspects of these accounts are that IDA accounts are custodial. You must open your account at the Camden TD Bank branch. If you live in Philadelphia, please reach out to us and we will talk about which banks in Philadelphia you can go to. The initial deposit must be made in person and you must open your IDA account within 30 days of receiving your IDA account opening letter via email. Once opened, you then must call us to let us know the account number and the date the account was opened. You will then be assigned to a LAEDA program staff person who will be your primary point of contact for making sure that you get counseling and that you participate in training and that you're meeting all of the requirements. So what do we mean by training? Essentially, this is 6 hours of financial training to make sure that you are empowered and educated to manage those savings and manage the capital match well, responsibly, and also do it in a way that truly improves operations of your business. Examples of this training can be budgeting, accurate record keeping, or maintaining the business and personal expenses. Separately, commingling is not allowed if you are operating a business. Finally, 5 hours of small business expansion training, and this is about just the other aspects that are required, the complete recipe that is required to operate your business successfully. That might entail marketing, being aware of your competition, creating systems and protocols that allow you to operate your business efficiently. LAEDA'S trainings include the Jumpstart program. It provides 6 hours of small business expansion training and 2 hours of financial management training. Workshops that are going to be provided virtually throughout the remaining of spring, summer into the fall, our Intro to Small Business Financing Seminar, Money Banking Personal Finance Seminar, Bookkeeping Seminar, and QuickBooks seminars. And finally, all graduates of LAEDA'S 9-week EDTP or WBA program, only in sessions 87, 86, and 85, have already met their requirements for training. So you are able to opt out of the training requirement. So what are the details behind maintaining regular deposits and successful account management? Essentially, it requires you to make a monthly deposit. It's also a requirement that you email a copy of each month's bank statement to us at LAEDA to demonstrate successful savings and income earned. You are not allowed to miss a deposit. Make sure also that you double check each deposit to make sure that the amount is correct. And finally, keep in regular touch with your LAEDA counselor in case life happens. We'll get to life happens later on. As LAEDA, we are responsible for providing all of you with a participant binder of rules and regs to guide you successfully through the IDA program. We are also responsible for connecting you to your fellow IDA savers to encourage and support each other. We are also and will be available to answer questions within a reasonable time frame. We will also be confirming that we have received all monthly bank statement copies and follow up with you if we have not. And finally, help determine the best path of action in case life happens. So what do we mean by life happens? Essentially, we're talking about when a participant's income situation changes in that the participant may need to diminish their monthly savings, terminate participation, or make an early withdrawal. Missed deposits are not allowed, but if they do happen, you will receive a phone call from us so that we can understand what happened and perhaps adjust the plan if necessary. Termination will result if a participant misses 3 deposits in a row, or their savings behavior is erratic in other manners. Your level of communication with us determines your opportunity to re-enroll. Essentially, we're talking about integrity and honesty and taking responsibility for what's really happening. We really do understand what it is like to put aside savings on an already limited amount of income. We are here to help you through whatever happens. And we just want you to know that you can call us and email us to let us know, hey, Kat, Jamelia, Sophie, Eric, I might be struggling a little bit right now. What can we do? Our response will be an enthusiastic, oh my gosh, absolutely, we understand. Let's figure out the best solution for you right now. Under the category Life Happens, an option could be emergency withdrawals. However, they're only allowed to happen if a participant has been saving successfully for 6 months at the very least. An approved need for withdrawal is to prevent or forestall eviction of a participant's family from residence, to pay for critical health care services, to pay for critical living expenses. Now, there's a whole procedure behind requesting an emergency withdrawal, and we will go over that during the enrollment interview. But emergency withdrawals can only be what you have put into your account. And any matched monies earned on the withdrawal would be forfeit. With regards to approving versus denying those emergency withdrawals, United Way makes the final decision. It will provide us its final decision within 3 days. they will then email us a withdrawal permission form, which we will then pass on to you. The participant then has to make an appointment with the bank, present the withdrawal permission form to withdraw the money. And then the participant and LAEDA will then meet to revise the savings plan and then decide when they can continue with the IDA program. Now, if the emergency withdrawal gets denied, you have a few options. One is that a LAEDA representative and participant can meet to discuss how the participant can make do in the particular situation. The participant can just withdraw from the program and collect his or her deposits, but no matched funds. Or the participant can apply for a leave of absence to weather the storm and then continue with the program. So now we're just going to talk about the final aspects of this program, which is with a withdrawal, the purchase of the asset, and the account closure. So a qualified withdrawal is when the participant is ready to make their withdrawal because they have met their savings goal and are ready to purchase the asset agreed upon in their savings and asset purchase plan. They have to have consistently saved for at least 6 months. And participant has completed the required financial and business management training. They also have a complete, simple business plan that outlines why the asset is needed, what it will be used for, and how it fits into the overall operations of the general business. Qualified, aka permitted, expense categories are licensing, fees, supplies and equipment, or inventory expenses. The business owner is not allowed to use the withdrawal to pay off existing business debt or personal debt, for that matter, to be used as working capital, aka rent, utilities, reoccurring bills, paying your employees. They're not allowed to take it out and then just kind of set it aside for reserve funds. You do need to use it in that moment. They are also not allowed to make payments on items purchased before IDA enrollment. So if you used your credit card to pay for a machine like $3,000, you are not allowed to use IDA withdrawals to pay off that $3,000, final payment, however you're paying it with your credit card. You're also not allowed to use IDA funds to conduct any repairs, make any furnishings, or pay your rent or mortgage. Nor are you allowed to use the IDA account money to pay for any expenses that are not included in the business plan. Asset purchase. The most important requirement here is that it needs to be submitted at least 30 days before the withdrawal asset is needed. There is a checklist that you are required to make sure that you meet. This checklist includes the account opening date and the earliest date of withdrawal. You also need to show that you have created and met your savings plan, documentation that you have completed training, copies of each deposit made by client, the completed enrollment and income documentation, invoices or a bill for when you purchase the asset, the qualified withdrawal request form, and any other United Way documentation that is required, maybe a recent credit report or your most recent tax return. So upon United Way's approval, this is the process by which the asset is purchased. United Way approves the request to withdraw. LAEDA then emails the withdrawal approval letter to the participant. The participant then makes an appointment with the bank to show the approval letter and receives a check from the bank for the amount of the IDA funds, and that check is made out to the vendor from whom you are buying the asset. The participant then brings the approval letter and the bank check back to LAEDA for us to make a copy to keep in your file. LAEDA then sends this copy of the check with the accompanying approval letter and the vendor details to United Way, so that United Way can then cut their matching funds check and mail that to you, the participant. The participant can also just go to United Way's office to pick up the check, or if not, they will just receive it in the mail and they then bring both checks to the vendor to pay for the asset that you are using the savings and the savings match to purchase. So we are now at the end. Here are the next steps. First, decide whether this program is right for your business at this time. The whole reason for this orientation is for you to know what this program is going to require of you. It requires consistency. It requires commitment. It requires a whole bunch of paperwork, and it requires patience. This is not something that is going to be one and done over the course of a couple of weeks. This is a commitment for at least 6 months, and it can be up to about a year, year and a half. If you think IDA is the right opportunity for you right now, then please email info@laeda.com or call us to schedule your enrollment interview. In that email, please provide the following code to verify that you watched this orientation in completion. That's the code. Include it, including the exclamation point. Please send that to info@laeda.com. While you're waiting to hear back from us, begin to gather the eligibility documentation reviewed in the beginning of this presentation. And LAEDA program staff will then review the documentation to determine and verify your eligibility. Once verified, we'll then reach out to you to confirm the date and time of an enrollment interview. You'll receive interview information and a link to the enrollment documentation that you will be required to complete, sign, and submit. And finally, you attend the interview and everything goes well and you get approved to open your account. So questions that we have encountered. First, are you allowed to make a purchase from more than one vendor? The short answer to that is no. If there is 2 vendors, you can contact us and we will decide on a case-by-case basis. But you are definitely not allowed. Unfortunately, this program does not have the bandwidth to cut checks and send checks to multiple vendors to buy something here, buy something there, buy something there. So please take that into consideration when determining your asset purchase plan. Are banks accepting clients during this COVID situation? Yes, you can call TD and make an appointment to open your account. You must open your accounts in person. However, the good news is that deposits moving forward can be made at ATMs, or you can make online account transfers into this IDA account. This is exciting stuff. If you have any other questions with regards to this presentation, please email us at info@laeda.com or call us at 856-338-1177. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to serving you through this IDA program. Thank you.